What the heck is going on, guys? My name is Bucky Roberts and welcome to your very first tutorial in using the HTML5 canvas. Now, if you've been watching my videos before, you probably already know that I already made an entire series about HTML5. So what the heck am I doing right now, making a whole nother series about it? Well, as the title implies, this video series is going to be only specifically talking about the HTML5 canvas. Now, the canvas in HTML5 is, in my opinion, the coolest part of HTML5. And that's because this is the area where you do all your cool drawing and interactivity and all your awesome animations take place. And if you want to make any games with HTML5, this is the area where you need to focus on. So that's why I want to take a whole mini series and dedicate it specifically to using the HTML5 canvas. Now, for those of you guys who have never, even heard of HTML5, I highly recommend watching my HTML5 tutorials first. They're on my website, thenewboston.org. Once you watch those, you're going to have a nice solid understanding of the language, and these tutorials are going to make a whole lot more sense to you. So don't jump right into these. Please watch my HTML5 tutorials first. Alright, so now that I wasted a minute of your lives already, let me go ahead and actually do something useful. Start coding and shut up. So what I did already is I basically made an HTML file and a JavaScript file. So obviously, if you ever watch HTML5 tutorials, the HTML file is where you're going to be putting all of your basic building blocks, and all your cool things, your interactivity and your animations are going to be taking place in the JavaScript file. So they basically go hand in hand in creating a really cool, interactive, awesome web page. So before we get to the cool stuff, we go ahead and we have to make the basic building blocks first. So let me go ahead and do that. So go ahead and make a basic HTML file, and in it, first thing you need is your doc type, HTML, and then we need all of the boring tags, HTML, ending HTML, and we also need to do this for the head, ending head, and of course the body, because my body is so sexy right now. My body is my body, and coding at the same time, singing at the same time. Now we can go ahead and add a style tag. Now inside your head, the first thing you want to do is you want to add a style tag. So let me go ahead and add a style, and unlike the previous versions of XHTML, you don't need to specify that it's CSS because CSS is the default in HTML5. So what's the first thing we want to do to our web page? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to change the background color of it, because check this out. Go ahead, launching Chrome. Oh, plain white. This looks pretty cool. Not if you could, not catch the sarcasm over there. So what I want to do, very first thing, is of course change the background color. So body, and let me just go ahead and make this gray. So background 999,999. This is, not dark gray, not light gray. So, well, basically gray. So now let me go ahead and, well, if I save this and show you guys, refresh it, we now have a cool gray background. Now, the reason I want to make a gray background is because I want my canvas to be white, and of course, if you have white on white, you can't really tell where the canvas starts and where the background, it pretty much looks cooler if they're contrasting each other. So that's why I want my website to be a different color. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to set the properties for the canvas using canvas ID. So whenever we make the canvas element, of course, we need to go ahead and reference this ID. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to add a margin of 10 pixels, and also a padding of 10 pixels as well, just because it looks a little bit neater whenever we're, drawing stuff. And now what I want to do is I want to specify the background of this to white. Now you're saying, alright, why do you need to do that? Because isn't it white by default? Well, actually, whenever you make a canvas in HTML5, it automatically inherits the parent element. And since the parent is, of course, the body, it would have a default background of gray. And obviously, if our canvas was gray and our background was gray, then everything would be gray and gloomy, and we'd probably go into depression and slit our wrist, and that wouldn't be good. We're here to learn HTML5, so if you want to avoid depression, you need your background to be white. Does that make sense to you? Hopefully. So now what we want to do is we want to add a border of 1 pixel solid black. And alright, this looks pretty good. So now we're saying, alright, we set the background of our website to gray, and whenever we make a canvas with the ID of canvas, we want it to be white with a black border, so on and so forth. But if we save this website and refresh it, nothing happens. Why is that? Well, because even though we set the properties of the canvas, we didn't actually make the canvas itself. So how do we do that? Well, go ahead and add canvas, and we actually might as well go ahead and end it right now. Canvas, and I want to mention this. The newer browsers like Google Chrome and any updated browser can display HTML5 and can display the canvas. However, if someone like your mom has a really old computer and she didn't update her browsers for a long time, they're not going to know what the heck the canvas is just because the browser's outdated. So any browser that's outdated is going to be able to read the text in between this. So we'll just go ahead and write get a new browser with the exclamation point. So basically, like I said, if you have an updated browser that shows HTML5, you're just going to see the canvas and not the text. However, if you have an old browser, then we just want to leave them a little note, get a new frickin' browser. So the first thing I want to do in my canvas, which I just created, is I want to reference the ID canvas because that sets this canvas to inherit these properties, which we would like. So in order to do that, ID equals canvas. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to specify the size of your canvas. Now for my canvas, I just want the width to equal 600 pixels, and you just go ahead and write 600, not px or anything, and the height is equal to 300. Now you can actually make your canvas any size. The reason that I'm doing this is because, as you can see, whenever I launch it, it fits nicely in my screen recorder. So in this tutorial, obviously what we did is we basically just made a blank canvas on the screen. Pretty freaking cool, but I told you guys that this thing was like interactive and cool, and right now we just made a white box. Not that cool. So we're going to be saving cool stuff for the next tutorial, but for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.